Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So thank you, dear devotees, for joining us online and in person. Um, we have here on online some friends of Mother Roshni, Kishan Prabhu, and our friends from university, Harsh, and other students. And here in front of me, actually, today we are given the fortune of having some wonderful devotees here with me in Goloka Eco Farm or Goloka Sanctuary. We have with me His Grace Madhavendra Puri Prabhu, who has been a book distributor and preacher of Krishna consciousness for last 55 years.
Hare Krishna,
Namaskar. Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada.
We have also with us Brother Vishal. He's originally from Ruski, and born in Ruski, but has spent his last 5 6 years studying Prabhupada's books and serving in this movement. 5 6 2 years. 2 years, okay, 2 years. Seems like a long time. And we also have with us with Krishna Kripa, Krishna Kumar Prabhu, not Krishna Kripa.
Hare Krishna, Prabhupada.
Both Krishna Kumar Prabhu and Vishal Prabhu, they have been on an amazing journey last few weeks. You want to hear the exciting things they were doing?
Yes, Prabhuji.
They were trying to do which is impossible. You can try and share some Krishna consciousness Bhagavad Gita with fellow Indians, and even that's not easy. They also are busy in materialistic life, but they had taken a momentous task. Their task was to distribute the message of Krishna to the residents of world of Middle East. They were distributing books, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and other books to Muslim people, to Arabic speaking people. So they were specifically only distributing Arabic books, only Farsi books for last few weeks. And they were traveling. In last 2 weeks, they traveled 2,000 miles. Over. Over 2,000 miles distributing these books and distribute tons and tons, hundreds of books of all Prabhupada's books in Arabic language.
Some of them are your books, some English books.
Yeah. That was for a small portion, but mostly they were doing Arabic books. So we are very fortunate that we have such an august assembly, because in August assembly, when there's devotees assembled with a sincere desire, then Krishna is present. Krishna is pleased in our discussion of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, plus Krishna is also present. So then we will all benefit from this discussion, and that's my hope. So okay.
I am not in Vaikuntha. I am not in the hearts of the yogis, but I am where my bhaktas sincerely assemble to glorify me and serve my mission.
Are you able to hear what he said?
Naham Vaikuntha, Vaikunthe Tishtami.
Was it audible, Roshni? No.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you, Ash. Okay, so today, I was preparing for the Bhagavatam class, but then I realized today happened to be a very glorious day, an amazing glorious day. It happens only twice a year, where we get to glorify His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who is our founder Acharya, our grandfather, and our spiritual mentor. So we're going to do a little diversion. Instead of talking about something from Bhagavatam, we'll talk about from Bhagavatam, but it's an extension of Bhagavatam. When my teacher, His Grace Chandrasekhar Prabhu says, he asked me, how many cantos does Bhagavatam have? Anybody here can answer?
12 cantos.
12 cantos. That's incorrect. The Bhagavatam has 13 cantos. The 13th canto is the life story of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
And all other pure devotees, probably includes even Joan of Arc, a Christian saint.
So today we will talk about from the 13th canto, which is the life story of Prabhupada. And me and Madhavendra Puri Prabhu, we have been recently reading this book called Swami in a Strange Land, which is the life history of Prabhupada compiled by Yogeshwar Das, one of his disciples. It is very well written. Growing up in Krishna consciousness, my favorite book used to be, is Leela Amrita. And later it was trumped by Srila Prabhupada, a friend to all, by Mula Prakriti Devidasi. And now it looks like it will be trumped by this book called Swami in a Strange Land by Yogeshwar Prabhu. Although I had this book on my shelf for like so many years, somehow that I never read it. Now I'm mesmerized by it. So today we will talk about Prabhupada's time in India before he made it to the West. That will be our focus. So let's begin without any further ado. Adieu. Okay. One second. So as we all know, Srila Prabhupada was born in the year 1896. He was born in the family of Maliks. uh,
Suvarna Malik,
Suvarna Malik.
gold merchants.
So these merchants, gold merchants, they used to be actually they were actually associates of Lord Nityananda. Uh, Lord Nityananda is known, like Lord Chaitanya is known to specifically focus on uh, people who are very intelligent or very renowned or like top of the society. Whereas Lord Nityananda, he specialized in sharing mercy with the people who are
More
really
materially entangled.
more materially entangled. Like he would go to a liquor shop and ask them to chant Hare Krishna and make them intoxicated in the chanting of Hare Krishna. He'll go to this wealthy merchants and make them Krishna consciousness. He will find dacoits and thieves and turn them into devotees. So that was his favorite thing. He used to find people of the lowest creed and turn them into Krishna's devotee just to show that the mercy of Mahaprabhu. So Suvarna Malik is one such family or one such family line which receive the mercy of Lord Nityananda.
Lineage.
Okay. So Prabhupada was born in 1896 to the couple Gaur Mohan Dey and Rajani. These were the names of the father and mother of Prabhupada. And the moment Prabhupada was born, in Indian tradition is that when a child is born, what they do? They call an astrologer. So an astrologer was called, and this astrologer came and made a very interesting prediction. What did he say? He said at age 70, this child will become a religious leader and will build 108 temples around the world.
He will cross the ocean and do what no one ever did before. He will make the Malechas dance to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's kirtan.
I don't think that much was said, but yeah, you can add that to it if you like. Anyway, so the point, one realization which I had on this point was that when Lord Krishna was born, we were discussing the other day, when Krishna was born, at that time also an astrologer came. What did the astrologer say when Krishna was born? Who here remembers? Except MVP. What did the astrologer say when Krishna was born? He said a lot of things, but I want to hear a few of those things. First of all, who was the astrologer who was called when Krishna was born? Garga Muni. Okay, yes, good. Krishna Kumar Prabhu. So what did he say? What are a few things he said?
To Nanda Maharaj?
Yeah, Nanda Maharaj and everybody in the assembly. He made predictions about Krishna.
Okay. You're going to kill a bunch of demons?
He's going to kill a bunch of demons? No. I guess you can say so.
Annihilate the demons, yeah, I've heard, so I don't know. He said that.
Okay, what else?
His brother, his Balaram, is also...
He also gave name for his Balaram. Yes, he gave the name giving ceremony there. We know that. But what are the predictions he made about Lord Krishna?
This child has had various colors in previous ages.
Yes. And he
Red,
tells the colors.
red, white, yellow.
Yes.
And this age is kind of blackish form. This child has protected saintly persons again and again in various forms throughout millennia.
And he said also this child will have the potencies or the capacity of like Lord Narayan. He made that prediction right then and there. Now this, when they heard, they were impressed. Wow, our child will have the capacity and the powers like Lord Narayan. So later, whenever Krishna would show amazing power, Nanda Maharaj would say, "Oh, you know that already Garga Muni had predicted he has the power of Lord Narayan. He's our child, but he has power of Lord Narayan." So that's how he used to justify Nanda Maharaj each time whenever Krishna showed extraordinary power. Oh yeah, it's already predicted.
Without saying that Krishna's God, because that would ruin the mood. He attributed Krishna's incredible power to Lord Narayan's empowerment.
Yes. So similarly here, in the case of Srila Prabhupada, it was predicted that he would make 108 temples. So this was not just an ordinary astrologer. I have some experience of doing astrology. I studied for many years, and I sometimes read astrology charts also. It is not so easy to give such a precise prediction. In fact, I bet you would not find any astrologer out there who can just make a prediction like that based on the chart itself. The charts are very complex, and they don't reveal such numbers and such exact predictions. At 70 years of age, and then at 70 years of age, 108 temples. So this astrologer must have been, just like in case of Krishna, a great devotee, a pure devotee of the Lord. Because pure devotees of the Lord, they don't depend on astrology. They depend on super soul, Krishna in their heart, who tells them what to speak. And that is that's a proper astrologer, somebody who's connected to super soul, to Paramatma. So here also, this astrologer who came and made prediction about Srila Prabhupada, he was not an ordinary being, for sure. And he made a prediction which may show like Prabhupada is an ordinary person. He will open up 100 centers at 70 age, but this is showing what he is going to accomplish, some extraordinary feat in the future. So just like at Krishna's birth, great demigods, great devotees were coming to see and take his darshan. You can see even here also, great devotees were coming to take darshan of Prabhupada, and they were making these predictions. So then, this gave a lot of happiness to Gaur Mohan Dey, whom Prabhupada credited in his book, Krishna book, right at the beginning. I dedicate this book to my father and pure devotee, Gaur Mohan Dey. And he was extremely very happy to hear that this is going to be the fate of my son.
Gormahande was a pure devotee. He wanted his son to do only religious and devotional activities, no nonsense. When his wife, Johnny, suggested that Abai go to England to learn to become a lawyer, Gormahande said never.
Yeah. We'll come to that in a minute. But before that, when he was very small, when his hand could barely reach the ends of the drum, Gaur Mohan Dey bought him a mridanga and hung it his neck. And his wife said, "What's the point? He's just a child. He can't play." He said, "No, this child is going to fulfill the astrologer's prediction, and he will make a sound throughout the whole world. I want to start him train early." So it was Gaur Mohan Dey who got him very early trained in the art of mridanga playing. When he was a little older, around 5 years old, Prabhupada had another wish. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, or Abhay, he was known as a small child, he would have he had very strong desires. If he wanted something, he would have it. One time he wanted a toy gun, and nobody would buy him that. So he started crying on the floor and making noises. Then his father, "Okay, I'll buy you one." So they bought him one. He said, "No, I have two hands, I want two guns." So they bought him two toy guns like that. So Prabhupada tells us very fondly that how he was a very obstinate child. If he wanted something, he has to have it. Similarly, one day he had this desire because he had fallen in love with Jagannath festival and Jagannath Puri. He told his father, "I would like to have a child's cart. I want to have my own cart for Rath Yatra." So then Abhay went with his father Gaur Mohan Dey to market to look for a cart, and they went to an exhibition. They got a cart, but looked at the cart. The cart was very expensive, and given his father's finances, it was not possible for him to buy it. So then Abhay started crying, and they were coming back. And then an elderly lady approached Abhay and Prabhupada, Gaur Mohan Dey. And this lady said, "Why is this child crying?" His father said, "He wants his cart for doing the Jatrata." "Really, you want a cart? Come to my home. I have a cart." And for nominal sum, that old lady, the elderly lady, sold a cart to Prabhupada. So then both father and son, they came back. They decorated the cart again. They put the columns which are a little broken, reinforced the wooden wheels, put a nice bridge for the deities to sit on the cart, and the cart was ready. For next 7 days, as we all know, Abhay had a 7-day festival for Jagannath Rath Yatra in his own small neighborhood. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhupada's name was Abai. That means fearless.
Yeah.
The way you become fearless is by taking full shelter of Krishna. The name is Abhay because he's fearless by virtue of the fact of having taken full shelter of Krishna.
So then, after that, they had this festival, and the festival, every night for the 7 days, Abhay, he used to sleep with the cart next to him because he didn't want to get rid of it. He didn't want to get away from it. And who knew that this Abhay, who was starting a small Rath Yatra for his neighborhood kids at age 5, would one day take 10-ton carts across the whole world in major cities of the world.
Where 10,000 people would march with Prabhupada's Rath Yatra cart through Golden Gate Park in San Francisco.
Yes.
In the 1960s.
When it came time later, thank you for that. Later, when it came time for Abhay's education, at that point, that famous discussion happened between his mother, Rajani, and Gaur Mohan Dey. You want to tell us, Pooh?
I just told it.
Okay. Basically, Rajani wanted his son to become, a British educated barrister. And Gurmohan said, "What? No. If he goes to the British schools, he would learn drinking and woman hunting." That's practically what is being taught at schools. Even in India also, if you go to any colleges, these are the only two things you get. You become a drunkard and you become a woman hunter. You go back without any vices and you come back with tons of vices and wives. So his father said, "I'd rather have him stay poor than to go to England and learn their ways and ruin our caste."
Later, he went to England not to learn from the British, but to teach the British Krishna Bhakti.
You remember there's a famous exchange. One time he went to England and they asked him, "What did you ask him?" Remember that?
Yes, the reporters, when Prabhupada arrived in 1969 in England, at the time that the Beatles had accepted Krishna consciousness and the Hare Krishna mantra was #1 on the charts in Europe, the report Prabhupada had become famous and his movement had become famous. So the reporter asked, "Why have you come to England?" And Prabhupada said, "I came to teach you what you have forgotten."
Mm-hmm.
And the reporter said, "Well, what is that, sir?" God.
I mean, that implication was because he's coming from India, and India is known to beg money and beg food at that time.
Beg technology.
So they thought that he had come also to beg something, and he didn't
All
know.
Indians came as beggars,
Yes,
begging Western technology.
that's what Prabhupada also said one time that all the Indians except one have come to the world for begging, and that's me. I came here to give, not to beg.
All those who are studying at UMich, what do they study? They study Western technology and science.
Exactly. So then later, Prabhupada got educated at a Scottish Church College, and he took major, I think, in philosophy and what else is this?
Sanskrit and English.
Philosophy, economics, and English. That's what this majors he did. And then it was time for him to get married. So then Prabhupada's father, Guru Mohan Day, found a girl. The moment Prabhupada saw the girl, Prabhupada said, "No, I don't like that. She's not beautiful." His father said, "My dear boy, I advise you not to do this. It is Krishna's grace that your fiancé is not to your liking. This will help you to avoid becoming attached to wife and home, and that will be beneficial in the matter of your future advancement. Don't be worried about her. If she wants to remarry, she can do so. I shall arrange for you to become a sannyasi, and you will be free to preach." So his father was also the same mood as Prabhupada. He wanted him to become a real, a fighter in Mahaprabhu's army.
A spiritual warrior.
And that is why this happened. Now, still there was some chance that Abhay might look here and there. So when they went to see the girl next time, Kormohunde kind of insulted the girl. And that kind of sealed it, because once you do that, then you have to necessarily go ahead with the marriage. So they got married. Sorry?
What did he do?
It was you should have been a little more quick.
Okay, so what happened that Gormohan went to see the girl along with Abhay, and that time Gormohan asked, "Does your girl dance?"
This girl was very attractive.
Yeah.
Right.
So Gormohan Day wanted to make sure that Srila Prabhupada would not marry this attractive woman.
Yeah, I mean, there was another girl which they were looking at that time
For
for
his second wife.
no, not second wife.
Instead of
the girl which Gormohan had chosen, they had gone to see another girl which was more attractive and physically, and Gormohan wanted that relationship not to happen. So when they went to see the girl at that time, Gormohan insulted that girl, and because of that marriage couldn't like that.
Insulted the girl.
Yeah.
An offhand remark comparing her to a prostitute.
So that alliance could not be secured, and then Prabhupada had to go for the first one, which was already suggested by Gormohan.
Wow, I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
This is all history.
That's interesting.
So then Abhay got married, and he was staying with his wife. And as soon as he graduated, he didn't take his degree because he was part of Gandhi's movement. He didn't want to. He didn't want to support the non-cooperation movement. So as part of the non-cooperation movement, they rejected all their degrees and certificates.
He protested the British rule because just a bit earlier in a city called Amritsar in northern India, there was a peaceful gathering of hundreds of Indians. The British came with rifles and opened fire and shot and killed hundreds of Indians who were having a peaceful rally. At that point, the Indians became incensed. The young, fired up, martially inclined, including Prabhupada, and Gandhi's movement of resisting the British gained a lot of strength, and Prabhupada was part of that movement. Because the British were barbarians. They cut off the thumbs of Indian weavers who refused to buy British cloth at 10 times the price of native cloth. The British were absolute barbarians.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
the worst trick they had, which the Muslims had ruled India for 1,000 years, but they never philosophically convinced the Indians.
Yeah.
The British were so clever. In order to conquer a population, you cannot just impose weapons and guns. What they did is they had a whole program to convince the Indian people that the Vedas and Puranas were mythology. They learned Sanskrit. The British are highly intelligent. They're expert at diplomacy and cheating. So they studied the Sanskrit literatures with the aim of proving to the Indians that the Vedas and Puranas are mythology. And one of the main arguments they used against Vedas and Puranas was the billion-year time cycles recorded in the Puranas.
Okay, we don't go in that direction right now.
Fast forward to modern, they use outdated science to try to prove that. But modern science
Prabhu.
has shown that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old and the time cycles are accurate, as recorded in a book by Siddharth Chabra, our narrator, Siddha Haridas Prabhu.
Jai.
It's called The Big Bang and the Sages.
Okay.
If you want to be a sage in the modern age and your ignorance assuage, this is the book you must engage.
Haribo.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so that was a diversion. But going back to Prabhupada, so he was trained in the art of Krishna Bhakti by his father. He used to worship Radha Krishna deity, had Rath Yatra cards, had a desire to also go to Mayapur and Puri, and actually regularly visited Navadvip also with his father. But still, what was missing was a captain. He was missing his life's mission. And that came to him in the year 1922. In the 1922, Abhay was approached by his friend Narendra Malik, who's Narendra Nath, that I'm meeting with a teacher, and you are known to be, you're quite astute person, and you're all very intelligent at the college also. I would like to show you this, upcoming sadhu. His name is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is the founder Acharya of Gaudiya Math. And maybe you can help me discern whether this sadhu is real, or is he also one amongst the many sadhus who are known to go around wearing the saffron garb and just beg in the name of Hindu religion.
Just to make money, just to feed the belly.
Yeah. And Abhay was not interested because he had seen his father being treated by a numberless sadhus growing up. He used to see that his father, Guru Mohan Dev, would invite everyone, whoever was wearing saffron, to come in the house and would give them a donation, would feed them. And the moment the sadhus would walk out, they'll be smoking a joint or drinking. So Abhay saw this growing up his whole life. So he had lost faith in the saffron-colored sadhus.
These so-called sadhus had adopted the renounced order simply to fill up their bellies. Instead of working honestly, it's much easier to just go around, put on the saffron cloth and go around begging.
Yeah.
But that's not the duty of a sannyasi or a sadhu. The sadhu is supposed to impart spiritual knowledge to the people in general. That's the true practice of sadhu. So Prabhupada, Abhay Charanara Vinda, was reluctant to meet Srila Bhakti Siddhanta because he thought he was just one of the numberless cheating sadhus. But when he met him, his whole vision changed.
So Prabhupada came here and to see on the insistence of Narendra Nath, he paid his obeisances, and the moment he paid his obeisances, he has not even lifted his head out after paying his obeisances. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave him his life's mission. What did he say? He said, "You are an educated young man. Why don't you take Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message and spread it in English to the Western world?"
The very first words, now because Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is a pure devotee, he's Trikalagya. He actually saw the future and knew Prabhupada would accomplish the task. He was a superhuman person. He's actually an intimate associate of Srimati Radharani, a Manjari, who has come in the guise of a sannyasi to teach us devotional service. So he could see right, when Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur looked at a person, he could see their entire life, their entire existence, open, readable as a book.
Yeah.
That's the power, because he was a pure devotee, a real sadhu, so he had these mystic powers. So he didn't waste any time. Why waste time? He said, this is what your mission is. You go forth in the English language throughout the whole world, especially the Western world, and you make these mlechas and yavanas dance to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's kirtan.
And then at that point, Prabhupada threw his arguments because he's known to be a political fighter. He was an activist in Gandhi's movement. He has studied Gandhi's philosophy. He has been following the independence movement of India all this time. So he said, how can we share Krishna consciousness to the West? They wouldn't accept us. We're not free yet.
We're a
And-
slave population. As I mentioned, the brutality of the British. So Prabhupada wanted freedom first from the British rule.
Yeah.
Then we can spread Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message.
So then Bhakti Siddhanta revolted. He said, no, Mahaprabhu's message did not depend on politics. Real independence, he said, meant freeing the soul from the shackles of illusion. Doctrines of impersonalism and voidism pervaded India's thinking. These dangerous ideas decrying the personhood of God were the true enemies, not the British. Until people were trained to know the difference between the body and the soul's ultimate fulfillment in love of God, they would never know peace. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had given the formula: chant Hare Krishna, follow the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, and the Son of Krishna will rise to illumine a dark time. In essence, what Bhakti Siddhanta was saying was that even if we get free, what would be freeing us from? It would be just one vice in replacement of another vice. And that's exactly what happened. When the British left the country, although they left ruling physically, they left the vestiges of their culture right there in India. They stored the roots. And the result is that our country, India, is right now no different in terms of culture than the Western culture.
We're running
It is-
after Western materialism.
it is as decrepit as the culture of the West.
That's why all of you came to UMish. What are you doing here? Because the British trained you to think that Western science and technology is superior to Vedic culture.
All right,
And you fell for it.
exactly. So, what Bhakti Siddhanta was saying was that if you really want to make a difference in people's life, if you really want to make them free, then give them Krishna's message, because that's the only thing which can free us from this vice
That's
of the material.
genuine freedom.
Yeah.
You get rid of the British Raj, as soon as that happened, there was another materialistic government in place.
Yes.
And then another, and then another, and then another. The freedom is the freedom of the soul.
So at that time, Srila Prabhupada, who was never defeated in any argument ever, this is the only time when he got defeated. And that
Prabhupada was so intelligent, he was a debater. He was in a debating club at his college. No one could defeat Prabhupada. He was so intelligent.
and later also in his life, he was known to be a fearless warrior.
Warrior and speaker and debater.
Because reporters would often come with challenging questions, and he would like
Crush.
do that. He wouldn't take a single second and reply back.
When a reporter in London tried to trap Prabhupada, much later on,
Yeah.
the reporter said, Swamiji, do you have a conception of hell in your religion? Prabhupada said, yes, London is hell.
One day somebody asked him.
Completely turned the table on the guy.
One day somebody asked him, Prabhupada, why did your disciples move you around in Rolls Royce? He said, Rolls Royce? That's third class. They should move me in gold car.
That's right. What is this Rolls Royce?
So he was known to be very witty.
A complete fighter.
But only at this point in his life he was defeated. And he admitted to his friend that the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in good hands.
And
Because-
Prabhupada said, this is the first time I've ever been defeated in my life, but I consider it a great victory
Yeah.
because this man is a genuine representative of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
Later, Prabhupada wrote about this incident and he said there was something else also which happened in this meeting. What happened? He said, it was in my very first darshan or my first meeting with Bhakti Siddhanta that I learned how to love. Because this is the time when Prabhupada was getting awakened to his reality. He didn't share so much of the inner life, but he wrote in his letter that in this point he learned to love. It means he was getting awakened to the mission or what his real identity was. People all understand Srila Prabhupada is not somebody who's a conditioned soul like one of us. He was already a Nitya Siddha, a great devotee, in fact, a great friend of Krishna, who already has enough, he's filled with love and ecstasy all the time. But he was being kept in a covered state for the purpose of enlivening us. In Krishna
Exactly as
consciousness.
Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita.
Right. So then that he met in 1922, but it was not until the next 11 years later when he got initiation, and a lot transpired in the time between that. While Prabhupada was taking care of his family, and he started his practice of Krishna consciousness then and there. In fact, later many of his friends and God brothers remarked that Prabhupada used to chant all the time. They saw him chanting 64 rounds practically every day. He would be meeting a customer, in between he'll be chanting, they'll be talking about something, and he will veer the topic back to Krishna, because that's what he was thinking about the whole time. So because of this, he was having losses in business, but he kept trying. Instead of talking to customers about making business bigger, he would end up talking to them about Krishna conscious philosophy. And of course, they will be falling in love with him, and at the same time, his business will be having a loss, incurring losses.
Prabhupada's motive for doing business was to maintain his family and to accumulate money for his journey to the West, according to the order of his guru.
Yeah, that was the main reason, that he wanted to accumulate enough money that he could travel.
Because it's not cheap to travel to America, and things are much more expensive, 100 times more expensive than in India.
So while all this was going on, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was leading another big voyage. He was taking Gaudiya Math, or the mission of Mahaprabhu, to heights never achieved before. In fact, prior to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, there has been many associations of Vaishnavas, but nobody could do create a mass movement as Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He was the first one in the history of Gaudiya Vaishnavism who could create a society which was, spreading Krishna consciousness in an organized manner throughout the country. So from year 1928 to year 1936, he organized a theistic exhibition, very interesting, which we read about. What he used to do, he used to organize a big pandal, a tent, where he used to have presentations on things like medicine, development in education, agriculture, arts and crafts, child welfare, sports, music, drama, and film.
It took square miles.
Half acre wide.
It's like a Disneyland, actually. That's what it is.
So they made a temporary Disneyland, and people will come to watch that. What is the latest development in this field? What is the latest development in that field? Because people are becoming materialist. And Bhakti Siddhanta knew, okay, what are people interested in? We have to do that. And then, apart from all that, he'll have a huge exhibit inside that in the center about Krishna and Krishna's pastimes. So the whole show was there to bring people there and then give them medicine of Krishna Bhakti, give them prasadam, give them Krishna Kirtan, and give them Krishna Katha. His preachers will be running all around telling people about how to fall in love with Krishna, how to follow the Prasad Krishna consciousness. So for that events, he used to have 1 million people each year for these events.
Srila Bhakti told his disciples, we must shed 10 gallons of blood.
Each person should be ready to
shed 10 gallons of blood to convert a materialist.
Not 10 gallons, 200 gallons of blood.
Gallons and gallons. He had them working day and night. That's the revolutionary thing. There were associations of devotees before him, but he had an organized mission,
right,
with the intent of spreading Krishna consciousness throughout all of India. And he had 64 temples packed up with devotees. He had, in his main temple, he had the printing press in front of the deities. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was absolutely radical. He used all kinds of Western technology the Westerners developed. He would use it for spreading Krishna consciousness.
Like he drove in a car?
He drove in a car at a time when sannyasis were not allowed to even wear shoes. And he drove the car into Vrindavan.
He used to wear a watch. Sannyasi is supposed to carry 2 pieces of cloth. He was wearing a fast, watch on his arm.
He said that the click-clacking of the printing press in front of the deities was a kirtan. It was the brihat mridanga, not the ordinary mridanga can be heard a few hundred meters away. The brihat mridanga can be heard around the world, and he sent literature to Europe, and his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, sent literature to Canada. He was the first one to send literature outside of India. So they had a vision. Bhaktivinoda Thakur and his son, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, had a vision for organized spreading of Krishna consciousness all around the world. And the person who fulfilled that vision is Abhay Charanaravinda, Srila Prabhupada.
So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, as I was saying, he was a revolutionary person, and he was doing these big exhibitions. So people were not liking him because he was breaking the tradition.
They tried to kill him. The smart Brahmins had an organized. They hired dacoits to kill him.
Yeah, because he was basically breaking the tradition, because tradition was that only Brahmins are the one who were supposed to be the gurus and lead people in all kinds of rituals. But he was initiating people into the tradition or into the lineage of being a Brahmin. And these Smartha Brahmins didn't like that. So as a result, they paid a mafia to kill Bhaktisiddhanta while he was in a parikrama. So at one such event in January 29, 1925, they were on a pilgrimage to Navadvip. And when they were passing through a village, these dacoits, they started throwing bricks and rocks at the parikrama with the aim of injuring Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur with his disciples ran inside a house, and there one of his disciples, who was a grihastha, he gave his cloth to his Guru Maharaj, and he wore the clothes of a sannyasi and walked out.
He was tall, so he looked like his guru.
Yeah. And in that sense, that's how he escaped. So going forward, every parikrama after that, Bhaktisiddhanta used to have a police escort for all his parikramas so that he could be protected.
Then, a second attempt, a police chief came to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he said, I have been given a huge donation, thousands of rupees, to look the other way while these
Bribe.
dacoits kill you.
Yeah.
But I can't tolerate that because you're a saintly person. I do these I take bribes for ordinary people.
Yeah.
He admitted, the police chief admitted,
Yeah.
but not for a saintly person. So watch out. These people are trying to kill you.
So while Bhaktisiddhanta was doing that, Abhay was building his business, and he went from Calcutta to Prayag because he wanted to go big. He went there, he started a franchisee of another company, was trying his best, but they also didn't do well. So from there he moved to Bombay. So throughout his whole life, he was basically trying to make his business successful. In fact, one place he said that I was supposed to be a billionaire as per my astrology chart, but Krishna had some other plans.
Billionaire?
Yeah.
A billion rupees or dollars?
So when he moved to Allahabad, he started a business there. At that time, he was very close to Agra. So one day he went to Agra, and that was the first time he got a chance to visit Vrindavan in his life. This was in year 29. He's not initiated yet, 1929, 1926. So when he went to his first visit to Vrindavan, it's very, very pointed what happened there. When he reached there, he asked where to stay. And when Brasi told him, you should go to Madan Mohan temple and you can find the room to stay there. So he went there to stay. And there, one devotee who gave him a place to stay, he mentioned about Prabhupada. What did he say? From the time Abhay arrived until the time he returned home, he did not go shopping. He chanted on his japa beads or stood on the edge of a hill and looked out over the Yamuna river. You see the focus he had. No sightseeing, no seeing this or that, but he was always focused on the mission of pleasing Krishna.
When an advanced devotee visits Vrindavan, he does not see the material covering of the holy dham. He actually sees Krishna's leelas unfolding. So he can just sit and chant and actually directly perceive Krishna's leelas.
Similarly, when Prabhupada, Abhay was in Allahabad at that time, many times his godbrothers would come. He was not initiated yet. They would come because he was renting upstairs rooms to Gaudiya Math. And whenever they saw him, they said he was always chanting. He was chant while going to his pharmacy. He will keep the bead bag on his desk. He will chant before and after meals. Whenever he go for an appointment, he will chant. Whenever he run a store, he will chant. There was never a lull in conversation. Because there was ever a lull, there was his chanting. He would talk to his customers and he will put in chanting in between that too. So he would somehow or other always talk about Krishna. And that's something which I want to highlight. Right now, in one sense, all the students here, they're kind of like in Prabhupada's phase of being in Grihastha life, where they are very busy because there's so many requirements, from the society, and we are trying to fill that role. But we can follow Prabhupada's example, that we somehow or other find time to chant holy name. When we're walking to college, chant. When we're walking back from college, chant. When you have a meeting, chant. In between meals, before meals, after meals, chant. Somehow or other, chant. Because that's how you please Krishna in this current age.
In that first trip to Vrindavan, Prabhupada stayed at a camp. There was a huge camp. It was a parikram.
That's later. It's coming up.
There's a huge camp
Yes.
of thousands of devotees.
Yeah.
And then there was an announcement made, we're all going to see the Keshavaji temple tonight. But some of us, another option is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta is giving a lecture tonight. So most of the disciples, unfortunately, went off to visit this temple. But Prabhupada said, no, I want to hear my Guru Maharaj speak. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta noted him and said, I will give him initiation because he does not go away. He likes to hear Krishna Katha.
So at this point, Sri Rupa Goswami has written a prayer. I'd like to read that, and that'll be our meditation for today. As soon as I utter Krishna's names, my tongue dances, and I want to possess innumerable tongues. This divine name is so sweet that it releases all chains within me, and my heart knows no more bounds. When the holy name enters my ears, I long for millions of years. I forget all else and am giddy with love of the name. Oh, I could never fully describe the sweetness of these two syllables, Krish and Na. This is something which many devotees remark about Prabhupada, that the reason why he became such a powerful acharya, because he had impeccable faith in the holy name. So this could be one of our meditations today. That how our Srila Prabhupada had so much faith and so much practice of holy name. May we also follow in his footsteps and develop a relationship with the holy name. So let that be our end for and for today. Does anybody have any comments or questions here? They want to share some reflections about Prabhupada. There's much more to say about Prabhupada, but given the time and space which I have been given here, I don't want to overstep that.
Uh, Prabhuji, I think like there's no comparison with Prabhupada, I guess, but generally, um, is it just japa that builds the faith and service?
In the holy name, how do you build the faith?
Yeah. How do we constantly have that like 100% faith? Like generally we have partial faith, right?
Yeah. I mean, we chant and we think about Prabhupada. If we think about our teacher, our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and we chant, then by his blessing we get the faith, and then we chant and we develop a deeper connection with him.
The first step is intellectual realization that the holy name is non-different from Krishna. That's step A in the program. It's called Sambandha Gyan, having the proper philosophical framework. So the philosophical framework is the holy name of Krishna is non-different from Krishna. He's Krishna himself. Krishna's pastimes are non-different from Krishna. Krishna's murti, archamurti form in the temple is non-different from Krishna. So all of these, this is our philosophical framework. Now the main problem is we have very little taste for chanting Krishna's name or reading Krishna's pastimes. And that solution is also given in the Bhagavatam, which gives all solutions. In first canto, chapter 2, text 6, it says, Shushusho Shradhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syan Mahat Sivaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanat. By rendering service to a pure Vaishnav, the ecstasy of Krishna's holy name awakens in your heart. So what's really missing in our life is we need to work for the mission of a pure Vaishnava. That's the magic that will transform you. I'm sorry, it was 1, 2, 16, first canto, chapter 2, text 16, Srimad Bhagavatam. But the Bhagavatam gives the solution for having no taste. And it's not a mystery. If we're a conditioned soul, we have no access to Krishna Bhakti. We have no access to our spiritual nature. We are spiritual by nature, but that has been locked away by millions of lifetimes of non-devotional activity. So to unlock our true spiritual nature and our true loving relationship with Krishna, we need to serve a pure Vaishnava.
Prabhuji, as a follow-up to that, generally when we serve also, maybe because of our impurities, we tend to not be in the right mood that we should be. We might be fault finding or we might be annoyed or about anything. So is that still okay? Do we
You got to
eventually get
start.
out?
You got to start from where you're at. Can
Okay.
you start from a position you're not at?
No.
You have to start from where you're at. So what you do is you, with your best philosophical intelligence, and you're a UMich student, so you're highly intelligent materially. Use that intelligence to identify anarthas or wrong philosophical conceptions and wrong attitudes and cut them out because that's slowing you down. So step A, you use your intelligence to have the right attitude. And then when you hear and chant and render service, Krishna will quickly reward you by purity. You'll feel a purification. You'll get an attraction for rendering service nicely. You'll find that the right attitude, Krishna rewards the correct attitude by giving you a higher taste. Krishna rewards the correct attitude by giving you the higher taste. That's Krishna's program. He's been sitting in your heart for millions of lifetimes while you've been pursuing the Hiranyakashipu program of trying to enjoy the material energy. That's what we've all been doing for millions of lifetimes. Krishna is so patient, he sits in your heart and just waits. He just waits till you get frustrated and tired of this material existence, which ultimately everyone does because the material energy cannot satisfy us because we're spiritual beings and the material energy is foreign to our true nature. So Krishna waits patiently, and then when you get fried enough with the material energy, even though you may have a big material position or a brilliant student at UMich, when you get enough fried, then he sends the guru. Prabhupada came into our lives to give us this spiritual knowledge and to teach us these things, the service attitude to the mission of the spiritual master, intense hearing and chanting. These are the things which will get you Krishna bhakti. It is a great science. It works even for sinful mlechas like me, what to speak of residents of Bharat like you.
Okay, does anybody else have any follow-up question or comment? We'll take one more. If it's there. If not, no problem. Okay, so we'll stop here. His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Those of you who are local here, we'll be having a festival at Harmony Collective in the evening, 5:30 to 7:30. A wonderful festival of glorification of Prabhupada. You're welcome to join.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
I don't know if you have time, but could we do maybe like 5-10 minutes kirtan,
Where?
like now?
On the Zoom?
Yeah. Like
Not
we have audience, so maybe we can also sing, but then we can mute ourselves. But yeah, I think if possible.
we do kirtan or you will do kirtan? Who do kirtan? I
We,
don't understand.
I mean, you do, and
Yeah,
then
we
we'll
have a
also sing, but we can mute ourselves so that there's no, there's not disturbance. But
okay, sure.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada,
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
Taste for hearing and chanting comes by serving Srila Prabhupada's mission.
Hare
Thank you everyone for
Prabhuji.
joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Gaura Hari.
All right.